Hey, Super Squee here, the emotionally unstable gamer channel on YouTube, back for more of my big list bullshit. And let's head right in. Okay, so it took me a little while to actually start watching Black Mirror. I know originally it was, I think it was like equivalent to like a channel that was kind of like PBS over there that had a couple episodes. The series only had like 5 or 6 episodes per season or something because it was I don't know what kind of series you would call it, but it's like modern horror, or not modern horror, but like technological horror, like stuff about the modern age, and like I guess like horrible, terrible fucking applications for it. Some of the episodes are like, they're not like spooky scary, but it's like, ooh, like that would suck, or that would be fucked up, or worlds where like, say, technology ran us in a different direction. And it's one of those things where it's like some of the stories are close enough to be like, oh shit, that could happen, and then other ones are just, they're cool to think about, but it's like, thank God we don't live in that alternate universe or some shit. Um, but every episode is like separate. They're like little snippets that look like all of the stories may take place in like the same planet. Some of them maybe not, but like there's little tongue-in-cheek nods to like different stories on each one, and I think it's really, really interesting. And I still haven't watched the newest season, the one that has like the fucking Miley Cyrus robot, but I still really like this series, and I'm looking forward to more of it. Okay, so this movie, this is the Scalies movie, and it's absolutely wonderful. I love this movie, and I could just watch a whole movie that was just her fucking that fish dude. Um, I love the music. I pretty much love everything that Guillermo del Toro is like touched. I really love the designs. I love the like aesthetic of the whole film. Like I love how well each character is acted, and like you feel like that's a person that I could like know, that seems like a real fucking person that exists. Um, and a little fun fact about this, I watched this with my friend Chris, and he had already seen it, and he fell asleep, and he rolled over on the keyboard of the mouse, and it made the movie start playing at like 2 times the speed. So I just watched the rest of the movie at 2 times the speed, and it did not make like any of it like sour to me. I feel like if anything, it was just like, okay, cool, I gotta focus even harder, and some of the slower parts of the movie won't feel so slow, and I'll get through this faster, and I'll still get to experience it. And I still, at 2 times the speed, was like crying because this movie is fucking emotional. And it was just like, the fact that you can speed this up and still fucking take it in as it should be, like that's awesome to me. It might seem like stupid, but it was awesome. So this is like touted as the hardest Guitar Hero that has ever come out, which, at least by a lot of people that I've met, and I don't believe that. I feel like it is very difficult, and a lot of the songs on here can just like seem completely unfair. Sometimes I wonder if they actually did that on purpose, or if they were fucking, they actually made the charts as close to the music as possible, which like, I know like Metallica is like thrash speed metal or whatever, so like it's insane. It's like you're just fucking going nuts on the strings, but it still seems wild the way that some of these songs are presented. Like, I feel like they ham it up just for the difficulty because it's a video game, which is fine, but it's just like, calm down. So most of these games I am able to play on expert, but I do prefer to play on hard just because it can be challenging, but I don't ever feel like I'm gonna fail. I really did enjoy this game. I didn't know a lot of the extra like guest artists that were on this originally back when I first played it, so it was another one of those. It introduced me to some more metal bands and stuff that I enjoy now, and I think this game is gorgeous, especially for like the time when it came out. The engine they used is phenomenal, and I feel like the lighting system in this makes the like really gross looking creative characters look a lot better. This movie is boring as shit. It's cool. I understand it's like a classic to a lot of people, and like Alice in Wonderland is a cool fantasy fucking realm, and like whoever the fuck the dude that like wrote the book or whatever is like quite obviously like a fucking conditioning pedophile piece of shit. But like, I mean, H.P. Lovecraft was a racist piece of garbage too. Like, just look up the name of his cat if you don't know. But like, people can still write good stories. I don't think that terrible people can't make good media, but like, yeah, I'm not gonna get into a whole tangent on that, but I feel like this movie is really gorgeous. I feel like this has the same problem a lot of the early Disney movies have. I just personally don't feel like they have a lot of substance. I feel like a lot of the voices are pretty good to all right. I think it's got really cute stuff, and like, I know people will say like, oh, it was made for kids, but like, I don't truly believe it was made for just kids. And I know it was still early in the animation era, so like, I give it slack for that. It's a gorgeous movie, like animation wise. Like, I love that. I think they did a really good job there. But just for like story and everything else, I just feel like it's lacking, which I feel like is just it's just a problem of like this era. I feel like that was. I keep saying I feel like. I apologize. That era just had like a lot of movies that have that issue. I feel like, god damn it. We're just gonna move on before I run myself in a hole. Like, it's okay, look at the animation, move on. So I started watching this because I just saw it and I was like, I don't remember reading articles or anything about it. I was just like, fuck it. I think I was just going on a binge of Netflix shit because I was like, let's see what Netflix has to offer. And Netflix always seems like it's hit or miss. But I like Travelers. It's broken around the edges and there's like goofy shit that just makes no goddamn sense. But I feel like they do the time travel thing in a really interesting way. And I like the actors in this. I like their little like sub stories about them specifically, and then like together as a whole as a group. I don't think I've watched the most recent series. I don't know if it got reprised for a season after that or not. I don't really mind if it has or hasn't, as long as they can like tie up loose ends properly. But if you want like an interesting take on like time travel shit that's different, then you can do a lot worse. And it is a really, I feel like it's a pretty interesting show, and it has really good character development, or it has really interesting characters. I don't know if I would say development. There's development there, but I'm not saying this is going to win awards for writing. Okay, so I absolutely love this. It's really weird, and aesthetically, just the whole thing is pleasing. Like, however the fuck they shot this, just it speaks to me on a like pretty brain wave length fucking bullshit thing. It was originally based on a graphic novel, I believe, and the graphic novel ends at the same point that the first season of this does, so I'm kind of confused and not sure how this is getting continued. I know another season came out and I still haven't watched that either. I feel like I'm really behind on TV shows, especially Netflix, because they just pop these motherfuckers back out. You're like, oh, okay, it's going to be like a one and done trick pony. And then they're like, hey, here's season 2, here's season 4, 5, 6, whatever of some other series. And it's just like, holy shit, calm down. Like, I get I have all this time, but leave me alone. But, if you want to see strange goings-ons of like British teens dealing with like themselves and their families and how to fucking figure out their own emotions, like it's pretty cool. Like it's weird and interesting, and aesthetically it makes me tingle. So okay, so this movie, I feel like, and I've noticed this from just this era in general of shit that happens with Will Smith, it seems like this man has a brick up his ass all the time and he can't get it out, and that's the face he makes in a lot of these more recent movies where people are like panning them. And I think that this movie uses that to its advantage. I feel like Will Smith's character is like believable. I feel like it's not hammed up. I feel like it's hammed down a little bit in some places. Like it doesn't seem serious. Like this seems goofy. Like if this would have been like an animated movie, then I wouldn't have had any issue with it, I think, because it would have came off better. I do think it's a really interesting premise. I wish that there would have been more to it. It felt like this trudge of like really pretty visuals and like an interesting like background thing going on with just really bland amounts of like scenes and shit that just wasn't interesting. Like I like the world that they made, even though like I get people will be like, it doesn't make sense. Like how would we develop to that point just because we have all these fairy tale creatures? Like it wouldn't be the same modern day that we have now. And I say, you don't know that, but also, like, why does it matter? It's a fantasy realm, and who cares? It's just an interesting type of fucking scenario, and I wish it would have done better. I wish it would have been made better, and it's not bad, but it's also like a boring romp. If you really want to see what it's like, then I would put it on in the background, but I wouldn't sit and watch this and expect it to speak to you or make you feel like, oh, that was a good movie, because it ain't. Okay, so Fallout 3. I know a lot of people shit on Fallout 3. I know there are people even lesser so that also shit on Fallout New Vegas just because like it's way different from 1 and 2, and I get that this is a Bethesda game and a lot of people have issue with Bethesda. Like, I get that 110% because they make a very specific type of game, and sometimes it can just be like, it's same, all of them are the same. But I don't mind it so much, honestly, and I really enjoyed Fallout 3. There could have been, like, more, like, world building and, like, story elements in a lot of places, and if you want that, but you also want, like, the blend of, like, what this game's combat and feel is, with, like, how the old school stuff was, then you can go into, like, New Vegas and know you're gonna have a good time, at least, hopefully. I did finish this one all the way through with all the DLC and everything. Some of the DLC felt like it was disjointed and, like, slapped in after the fact, because apparently the end of this game was pretty, like, fucking cut and dry, because originally you had no choice but to sacrifice yourself in the end, which, spoilers, if you're watching these, you should probably, I'll put a little thing that says spoilers in the thing, just in case, but you have to sacrifice yourself. Even though you can have a party member who's a super mutant who could just walk into the room, not get affected, and turn off the fucking switch. Like, you have to sacrifice yourself. And I didn't know that till I was looking up stuff for the game after the fact. And it was just like, why wouldn't you give me that choice and then I could still explore the world after, unless you knew that your world was kind of empty and after you see the in-between cool shit, it's like they ain't nothing there. I think they tried in some ways. I feel like from what I hear about Fallout 4, it's more of a Bethesda game than this was. Like, it was like they shifted into their own thing and less of what it used to be. But I feel like this is an alright transition period. And then New Vegas is like the real meat of this specific generation of Fallout. Blah. So, my friend Chris also got me into this show. I think it's absolutely amazing. I think Pablo is like the fucking cutest pie ever. I think Ash is just fucking ridiculous. I love Bruce Campbell. He is just a ridiculous man, and I love seeing him in things. I still haven't seen the final season for this, which I've heard just kind of like cuts off. Because Starz decided not to like go ahead and continue with it, which makes me sad, but I'm hoping we'll get something else out of it. I still haven't watched the original like Evil Dead movies. I have like read a lot of synopsis, and like I've seen scenes and stuff, and they look really cool, and I still plan to watch them at some point. I'm just slow on the intake with a lot of this shit because there's a million things I want to watch, and I can't watch them all at once. But if you want some like gory, like dark comedy type of thing, and you have watched Evil Dead or haven't, this is still like a really good like snippet, and it does a lot of callbacks to the older movies and little things. And like at one point, I think like they weren't allowed to reference Army of the Dead, but now they can, or they did like in the later seasons. So it's cool that it just kind of brings everything together into one canon in a way. Okay, so I believe this is the same guy that did 2.5 Men and a bunch of other shows and stuff like that. And this was like, he got to put a show on Netflix, and it's like on Netflix, it's like, yeah, there's like kind of a rating system, you know, like what's for adults or kids or whatever. But it's like, he could use the F word and put marijuana in it. And I'm like making light of this, but it's a pretty decent show. Like, it's funny. It's like, I feel like it's like watching That 70s Show, but like in modern day. And, like, it's got a lot of interesting characters, and there's some really cool, like, there's animated segments that are awesome, that are, like, specific to each character and, like, stuff that they've gone through. And I don't know if we're going to get another season. I can't remember if that was talked about or not, if I ever saw that. But this series is a lot of fun. If you like pop culture and shit, like, I feel like you'll get a lot of laughs out of it and really enjoy what's going on. And the actors do a really good job. And this poster is really cool. I had never seen this poster until I was looking up images for this shit. Enjoy that burp. This movie was a cool setup for a lackluster and almost, in my opinion, just complete garbage fucking animated movies. And it's not just the dub, like, it's just bad. Like, I feel like it's bad. And from what shit I've seen, a lot of people kind of agree it's not great. And I was sad because this first movie was really slow, and it's like Godzilla Planet of Monsters Part 1. I don't know what like the Japanese name was, but that's how it was titled here in the States. And it was distributed by fucking Netflix over here in the States. And there's a lot of cool things going on here, but it's just a really slow-paced movie. It's kind of and doesn't really hype up to anything. And like Godzilla has the cutest little like eye wink, like baby stare at the end of the movie. And like I don't even have the other movies on the list because like I skimmed through them like looking at pieces just because I tried to watch like the first 30 minutes of one of like the ones after this, and I just skimmed through because I was just like, this is just so bad, like it's boring and I don't care about the shit that's going on, and even the monster fighting scenes are just like interesting premise, really shitty execution. I feel like they could have came up with better ideas. I don't know what fucking studio worked on this or wrote the script or what, but like, go back, do it again, or don't fucking touch Godzilla again. Like, don't touch my baby. And that is it for this episode. I'm sorry that I said it's like so many fucking times. My brain apparently is fried. But thank you for watching. Bye-bye.